Funding for this production generously comes from the Community Foundation of Dickinson County. Since 1999, serving as the community's charitable giving resource. And the Brown Memorial Foundation, featuring the Brown Memorial Home, an incredible affordable living opportunity for active independent senior citizens. For information, contact the Brown Memorial Home in Abilene.
How to get electricity from a water wheel. The entire universe is made of atoms. Atoms are made of neutrons, protons, and electrons. When the electrons of one atom jump to another atom, electricity is created. When you walk across the carpet and touch the doorknob, that spark is electrons jumping from one bunch of atoms to another. That's electricity. An electric turbine spins magnets around a coil of wire, making electrons jump from one atom to another. It's like a billion fingers touching a billion doorknobs. Put something between those moving electrons and you can power a light bulb or a city. Gravity and the weight of water is used to spin a turbine by the use of a water wheel. That's how you make electricity from a water wheel.
It was stupid to think I could drive halfway across the country in this car. I was supposed to drive to Springfield, Illinois by tonight, Chicago by noon tomorrow, and now I'm stuck in Abilene, Kansas. Oh yeah, I know. I'm about 2 hours out of Kansas City. I'll park the car, get a late flight to Chicago, and I'll be there in plenty of time for the conference tomorrow. Gotta go, Marshall Dillon's here.
Matt Dillon was Dodge City. In Abilene, the marshal was Wild Bill Hickok.
The car?
Parts will be here by noon. You should be good to go 2-3 hours after that. There's plenty to see here. The Eisenhower Museum, it's world class. Across the street from that's the Greyhound Hall of Fame, Old Abilene Town. You should go see the Telephone Museum. Find out about C.L. Brown and the Brown Memorial Park.
I have no idea who K.C. Brown was.
Well, you're welcome to wait here. We got Dr. Pepper in the machine. Cup of coffee. C.L. Brown was born about the same time that Bill Hickok was the Marshal of Abilene. Because of the railroad and the Chisholm Trail, Abilene had more millionaires per capita than any place else in the country. Meanwhile, back east, Jacob and Mary Brown had their first child with the help of a local country doctor.
Yeah, Miss Brown got yourself a fine boy in there. And the boy doing fine. That'll be 50 cents.
Sure seems like a lot of money for 2 hours of work.
Oh, Mr. Brown, it's not the 2 hours pushing and pulling in there. It's 41 years of medical experience. One live mama, one live baby, and 50 cents. What you gonna call him?
Cleason Leroy.
Gleason Leroy Brown. Good name. Well, you can get Mary up in time to fix your supper and wouldn't have her milking the cow for a day or two. Got some mopping up in there. Oh, God be with your house.
4 children later, the Brown family migrated with other members of their Quaker-like religion, the River Brethren, to farm in Kansas. In CL's world, God came first. Deals were set like stone with a handshake. Work was done with no excuses. The family bought a farm along the Smoky Hill River with a rickety water wheel. Jacob fixed it up and got a pretty good lumber and grain milling business going.
The doctor says to get on to school in the next few days. Best way to get through this is to get on to the next thing.
I would have made a good farmer.
Now, you'll be a good something else. It's just an arm, CL, not an excuse. There's not a man that can't do with less than everything that God gave him. Now, say your prayers, and good night. Mary, put an extra portion in my lunch for tomorrow. My new man is too proud to let on, but I don't think he has any food.
Can't you just give him an advance?
He'd just keep chasing after himself to catch up. I'll offer to share my extra. He'll accept that and still have his pride.
CL got on to being a good something else. He graduated from Abilene High School, taught school for a few terms, married Maud Irwin, and worked in Case's department store. Mr. Case provided CL some money handling tips.
Something on your mind, CL?
Can you do that? Can you just take money out of the register? I thought everything had to be documented.
Sometimes, if I need pocket money, I shuffle it around. There's nothing wrong with borrowing from myself. Just make a note of it. It makes things a lot easier. You'll do the same thing when you have your own store.
My own business.
CL took a job in Wichita. Jacob wanted him back in Abilene.
What do you think about this new electricity? I'll tell you what I think. It is dangerous. Do not
When
let
electricity was still a new thing, some people thought if you left the socket unplugged, electricity would run out on the floor and kill your cat.
it died on the spot.
Every town had to generate its own electricity. The first Abilene Power Company gave up and abandoned their equipment. So the city approached CL about attaching an electric turbine to his water wheel.
We do not borrow money. We do not carry debt. When we've saved enough money, we might buy the equipment, and then we'll go into that electricity making business.
This is the opportunity of a lifetime. It won't wait.
Not until we've saved enough cash.
If Abilene doesn't keep up, you said the mill would run with no interference. My water wheel is going to generate electric power.
Abilene had Bell telephones, but only about 60 people in town had a phone. Small town service was awful. CL told the commission he could provide better service and double the number of customers at half of what Bell charged. The city gave CL a telephone franchise.
Mr. Brown, the doctor sent me to fetch you. Your wife had a baby. You're supposed to come home now.
It's not due for 2 weeks. Is everything all right? Is it a boy?
He just said for you to come home now. And you should give me a nickel.
CL hurried home. The doctor met him on the porch. Maud was fine, but CL's son was what back then was known as retarded. They named their boy Paul. CL got on to the next thing. The Brown Telephone Company took their first call in a workspace above the Reflector newspaper office, with one operator, one account manager, and CL, owner, manager, and operator during the lunch hour.
A number, please. Oh, hello, Mr. Henny. The hardware? Let me see. That's number 317. I'll connect you. Mr. Cecil? I have Mr. Henny for you. Yes, I know. You're welcome. Mr. Henny? It was nice talking to you, too. Tell Laura I said hello. You're welcome. Goodbye.
We're on our way.
Bell decided to put Brown Telephone out of business. They had their telephone poles on the south side of the street, so CL had to put his on the north side, but he already had his power poles.
But wait, Bell was a big national company with long-distance phone lines, and Brown was a little local company.
Well, Bell was charging $3 a month for phone service. CL, $1. Bell dropped their rate to 75 cents. CL gave people a discount on their electric bill if they got a Brown phone. To box Brown Telephone in, Bell refused to let CL's telephone lines connect to Bell telephones. So, CL signed up 4 times more Abilene customers than Bell, and ran a line to Harrington where he arranged to connect 14 independent telephone companies. United Telephone and Telegraph was born, with long distance all the way to Kansas City. CL invented ways to make the phone important. Before time zones were established during World War I, time was a few minutes different in every town. When the sun was straight south, that was noon. People counted on the noon whistle to set their clock, and CL let people know that the Brown telephone operator was on duty in their town to assure the whistle blew on time.
Hello? Mr. Hanson? It's Sally. I'm fine. How are you? Oh, well, I would soak your feet in Epsom salts when you get home. Yes, well, you know what time it is. Okay, bye.
Hello, operator? Connect me to Walker Grocery, please.
Some stores tried to steal business
Thank
by
you.
paying operators to misdirect calls intended for their competitors.
Johnson Grocery.
Johnson Grocery? Oh, okay. Well, I told the operator to... Well, can you deliver to Grand Avenue?
Absolutely.
I guess that'll be all right. I'd like 5 pounds of Hudson flour.
CL would not allow dishonest behavior of any kind. His reputation for straight dealing grew, and soon towns were asking CL to service their community. Some switchboard equipment was moved to operators' homes so they could be on call 24 hours a day. United offices moved to 3rd Street. Paul would ride his bike downtown, greet the morning train, and then sit for hours outside his father's office.
Yes, Mr. Brown?
Miss Harris, I noticed that some of the girls at lunch today didn't have any food. Is there a problem?
Well, we skip a meal some days when money is short. The landlords know we make more than most girls, so they charge us more for rent, so we skip a meal.
They charge more? It doesn't seem fair, does it?
No, sir.
Well, thank you, Miss Harris, for letting me know. And, Miss Harris, in the future, if any of the girls don't have food for lunch, just call down to Sim's Restaurant order what's needed, and charge it to me.
All right, sounds good. Okay, thanks, bye. I've got a hair appointment at 1 o'clock at Hairtiques.
What is that?
This? Oh my gosh, okay, this is so good. So this is organic goat cheese and pistachio spread on some organic ciabatta bread with heirloom cilantro. So good.
When the family grew, the Browns moved to 800 North Buckeye. CL had his old house remodeled into a boarding house for his operators, with furniture, a kitchen, and low rent.
Hello, Mrs. Conklin. This is the Brown Telephone Company operator. How are you? Good. The school board just wanted us to let everyone with children know that school will be closed on Monday. Yes, that's right. Oh, and there's fresh oranges down at the Piggly Wiggly. Well, I remember you said you like oranges. You're welcome. Goodbye, Mrs. Conklin.
The operator would track down the doctor for you, call the fire department, and send a telephone man to ride along to keep the phone service intact.
Hello, Mrs. Connor. This is the Brown Telephone Company operator. The school board just wanted us to let everyone with children know that school will be closed.
Bell gave up and sold its franchise to CL. 3 years later, with the company running smoothly, Bell agreed to buy the telephone franchise back if CL would stay on to manage. He did.
Good morning, Stuart. Here's a Colburn file.
And here's today's reflector.
By next year, we're going to have to double the capacity of the Riverside hydro plant. It'll take some regulation reform. Talk with our people in Topeka and get those changes voted in.
Yes, Mr. Brown. It will take a capital risk for the upgrades. How do you want me to approach the board of directors?
Just tell them I want it. Everyone on the board works for me. I don't expect any objections. Do you?
No, sir.
Stuart, I surround myself with the best people. People who know how to get things done. Why, I wouldn't be able to do half of what I do without people like you. My father taught me to get the very best people, tell them what you want, and have enough sense to get out of their way while they get it done.
The school board annexed the property where CL had the operator's boarding house, so CL bought the abandoned Liebold mansion and turned it into a boarding house. CL included a private apartment for his secretary, Mary Dell Gamble. That caused some gossip, but CL built houses for several of his managers.
The guy just gave people stuff. He took Mary Dell on a cruise along with the rest of his managers and their families, all expenses paid, to the Bahamas. He bought cabins in Colorado where any United employee could stay on vacation for free. He took care of people who got sick or had a fire. There was never a strike at a C.L. Brown company. What did people say about C.L. Brown?
C.L. Brown was the most honest.
Had more compassion. He was the kindest and most generous.
Yeah, but what about Mary Dell?
If I knew anything, I wouldn't tell you.
The Brown family lived a modest lifestyle and never missed a Sunday at church. Maud took care of the house and the kids and was a regular on the Abilene golf course. CL bought an artificial arm but didn't wear it all the time. He drove a Rolls Royce because he needed a foreign car with a shift lever that he could reach on the left. In high school, girls wanted to go to parties with Paul so they could arrive in the Brown family car. Of course, everyone in town knew the family had money. One Abilene family in 4 worked for a C.L. Brown company. CL kept reinvesting his profits in new businesses. He would take cash from one account and shuffle it to another until the new company was going strong. CL never saw anything wrong with borrowing money from himself. Lumber, oil, a shoe company, insurance, airlines, dozens of companies. CL was always the first to arrive and the last to leave the office. It was a lot of work, and it took a toll.
Everybody's in debt. I do not understand this younger generation. They have no principles, no discipline.
What do you mean, Mr. Brown?
Meridell, read that memo from Mr. Costello.
Yes, sir. United Telephone Company newsletter, The Voice, by Mr. C.L. Brown. Many people ask me the secret of success. It is simply straight thinking, faithful performance of duty, and integrity. Eat less, drink less, and smoke less. Wear your clothes a little longer. There is not a human being in the United States that cannot exist on 9/10 of what he exists on.
And no excuses. My father taught me that. Well, we can't let that happen. The Piggly Wiggly investors would lose all their investment. And that's the only grocery store that a lot of these towns have. Well, what's it going to take? Okay, transfer $400,000 to United Grocery. Yes, thank you. Goodbye.
It's your father. He's had a heart attack. He's dead, CL.
My father showed me how to be an executive. He gave me the chance to prove myself. I'm trying to carry on service to my fellow man, the things my father used to do.
Dear Mr. Brown, at your request, we located Mr. Keene in western Kansas and induced him to return to his wife and 8 children with your offer of a job and home at Abilene. The cow, chickens, and groceries you provided have given the Keenes a new start. They are now getting along nicely and have managed to save a little money. Dickinson County Attorney Paul Royer, October 5th, 1923.
He had Mary Dell manage what he called the Brown Welfare Department.
If you're going to be working for the Brown Welfare Department, there are some things you need to know. Mr. Brown supports more than 6 dozen charities. He's built an orphanage, an old folks home. He built cottages for widows with children. Our job is to see that his money goes to where it's going to do the most good. He believes that a job, assistance with work, gives a person self-respect. Work resolves their money problem. Otherwise, they'd be a steady drain on the department.
There was a steady stream of people asking for money from CL.
Dear Mrs. Tisdale, Mr. Brown wants you to know he was saddened to hear of the loss of your husband and your struggle to provide for your children. In support of your clothes washing business, coal will be delivered to you monthly for hot water. Mr. Brown has arranged to have electric power installed in your home and provided to you without charge. We hope the enclosed electric iron will help you to prosper in your future. Best wishes, Mrs. Hazel Gamble, Superintendent, Brown Welfare Department.
When you go for your hair appointment, look around. There's still plenty of things left from when CL was here. Check out the Sunflower Hotel. That's where Ike stayed when he came to visit. The first hotel from Kansas City to Denver with a phone and radio in every room. Oh, and that reminds me. CL needed help getting employees to accept a new company savings program. So to help him out, CL recruited a local refrigeration salesman who people said was the most trusted man in town, David Eisenhower.
I'm beginning a savings program for my employees. I'm requiring them to save 10% of every paycheck and to put it into a savings account.
How is that going over?
Not well. But I'm finding out that many of my men and girls, my employees, are in debt. I want you to be the secretary of this savings program.
I'm not a rich man, Mr. Brown. You don't want a banker, lawyer, someone like that?
I'm looking for someone that people trust. I want you.
David Eisenhower took the job. David's son Dwight took a job with the government.
Find a buyer for the utilities. It's time to sell out. I'm working on some new plans. It's going to take a lot of my time. A memorial to my parents.
I think in some ways CL was still trying to make it up to his dad for the way he wrestled control of the mill. November 15, 1926, CL started the Brown Memorial Foundation, dedicated to his parents. Not with United money, with his money. CL built a park with everything free to the public. A mile-long lake with a lighted beach, motor and rowboats free for the asking. Families would book their vacation in one of the cabins. First come, first served, no charge. The Brown Park had walking trails, a golf course, tennis courts, a zoo, a horse trail with horses to ride for free, a world-class target range, a girls' camp, a Boy Scout camp with an 85-foot-long whaling ship, the biggest boat in Kansas, and the Brown Memorial Foundation Home for the Aged, with free meals and a furnished apartment for anyone who needed it. On July 28, 1929, CL told the crowd, "I want this home for the aged persons so they can live in dignity, regardless of their financial status. My wealth is nothing more than for service, to provide health and happiness to the young and comfort to the aged, outside of enough to care for my family. Today I give all my wealth to this foundation."
Say, Mr. Brown, John Anderson with the Kansas City Star, and it's my understanding that recently you made a trip to Europe with your daughters and your secretary to find some decorations for your home. Do you think you're a pretty good decorator?
No. My daughter and Miss Gamble here get credit for all the fixtures you see here. I would not have made a good decorator. Although, if things had been different, I'd made a pretty good farmer.
The news out of Wall Street is grim. Stock prices have fallen at record levels. Overnight, businesses and millionaires are bankrupt. The woe of the nation is upon us.
Four months after CL dedicated the Brown Memorial Home, the Great Depression hit. CL still managed the remaining United companies, but he'd given his money away. He still tried to help create jobs. He persuaded investors to finance the only major construction in Abilene during the Depression, the Sunflower Hotel. Oh, and the David Eisenhower connection? The Sunflower was only the third air-conditioned hotel in the world. By 1933, more than 3 million telephone customers gave up their phone service. Dust Bowl conditions in Kansas forced CL to travel to New England, where he stayed in a hotel. He needed the lower elevation and cleaner air.
United Telephone Company Newsletter, The Voice, December 1934, by Mr. C.L. Brown. My dear friends, I wish for you the privilege of happy association, the good wishes of friends, and the love of family to make this a time of rejoicing. Let us meet the challenge of the day with determination to make life more agreeable for the other fellow. In doing these things, we meet our obligation and justify the privilege of living our life. I wish that you may be privileged to enjoy health and happiness through the new year. C.L. Brown.
Thank you, Mary Dale. Go ahead and send that off. Please sit down. Okay, Stuart, where are we?
There are a lot of people very angry with you, Mr. Brown. The investors in the hotel, here. The $400,000 you gave to United Grocery that you took from United Telephone, the phone company wants back.
United Telephone, United Grocery, it's all United money.
Technically, it's not. You never legally joined holdings. There is no United Companies Group. You just ran it that way. It worked when business was good and you were able to handle daily affairs. But the on-demand notes you signed are being called in. United Telephone needs cash and United Grocery owes them $400,000.
Can I cover it from my personal account?
Mr. Brown, your cash went to the foundation. There are people looking for you right now to seize your assets.
I can work this out. Everyone will get paid every cent. The way through this is to get on to the next thing. But I need some time. How to buy time.
Leave the country. They can't serve papers on you if you're out of the country. You still have your yacht. Just anchor offshore. They can't touch you there. It's just until I can file papers to block creditors. We can delay legal action until you get your health back.
The foundation forwarded these letters to you. I thought you might like to see what the mail is like.
Dear Mr. Brown, my name is Eleanor Curtis. I am 13. I wanted to thank you for your park. This summer, I went to Marydale Girls Camp and won a marksmanship and sharpshooter badge. I enjoyed going for a rowboat ride, the horses, and swimming in my beach pajamas that I made myself. You were there for my last evening of the camp. I saw you at the campfire when we girls sang songs. I liked it a lot. I hope you did too. Oh, P.S. These are the words from one of the songs. I hope you remember. It isn't any trouble, just
a smile. It isn't any trouble, just a smile. So if you've any trouble, it will vanish like a bubble if you only take the trouble just to smile. It isn't any trouble, just a giggle.
Clayson Leroy Brown died of a heart attack off the coast of Delaware. Creditors swooped in. His family got to keep the house, but that was about it. Thousands of people stood in line to pay their respects at CL's funeral. The Boy Scouts provided an around-the-clock honor guard.
I-70 will get you to Kansas City. Go south on Buckeye if you want to see the Brown Memorial Park. The park attracted crowds of thousands for years. Over time, floods washed a lot of it away. It was just too expensive to keep it all going without CL around. But the park is still there. The Scout Camp is going strong. The Home for the Aged is still an incredible opportunity, managed and financed by the C.L. Brown Foundation. Companies have merged and changed names many times. But Brown Electric was the core for the largest power supplier in Kansas. Brown Telephone operates worldwide. It's now known as Sprint. And CL just needed time. Of CL Brown's 85 companies, 79 survived the Depression and were profitable again. cards low, and when you're ready, we'll go ahead.
Here we go. Isn't any trouble just to smile. It isn't any trouble just to smile. So if you've any trouble, it will vanish like a bubble if you only take the trouble just to smile. It isn't any trouble just to giggle. It isn't any trouble just to giggle. So if you're in a pickle, just give a little wiggle if you only take the trouble just to giggle.